Last week, the S&P 500 declined 2.1%, the Nasdaq fell 2%, and the Dow Jones dropped 3.1%. U.S. stock prices continued recent declines, with the S&P 500 recording its worst week since 2023, and all three indices are now in correction territory, a fall of over 10% from their most recent highs amid trade war concerns. Slightly lower than expected U.S. inflation-linked data wasn't enough to lift market sentiment. Crude oil prices edged higher, but natural gas prices hit a 10-day low on warmer weather forecasts in the U.S. Gold and silver prices jumped to record highs amid demand for safe haven instruments. Palladium and platinum prices jumped to one-month highs as the dollar pulled back. Markets await Wednesday's Federal Reserve interest rate decision. While no change to the current rate of 4.5% is expected, statements from Fed Chair Powell in the press conference following about inflation or future Fed moves will be closely watched. Markets will also be watching out for further statements from President Trump on trade, foreign, and other policies. President Trump's planned March 18th call with President Putin on a potential 30-day ceasefire in Ukraine could impact sentiment. Intel's stock price surged 18.63% to a 10-day high after the appointment of a new CEO boosted the company. Hopes that new Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan will bring the experience necessary for the company to regain its competitive edge in the semiconductor market sent its price upwards last week. The company has seen great volatility this year amid mixed earnings and talk about potential company restructuring. However, the Trump administration is seen as a potential benefit since the government is pushing for increased domestic AI chip production. NIO's stock price jumped 8.1% last week, with the stock hitting its highest level since October. The electric vehicle maker has recorded better than expected delivery numbers of over 20,000 in recent months, amid high demand. The release of the more affordable Envo model was considered successful and has seen an increase in sales, while NIO's battery technology is improving. NIO will post its earnings on March 21st. Crude oil prices rose 0.94% in a volatile week for the commodity. Oil prices were supported by uncertainty about whether Russia would agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine, suggesting that oil sanctions could remain against Russia for many weeks. Falling inventories also underpinned the commodity. However, worries that an escalating trade war could lead to lower economic growth and potentially lower oil demand pared further profits. Gold prices increased 2.3%, hitting an all-time peak of over $3,000 on Friday. Trade tensions amid the threat of fresh tariffs and retaliatory measures from other countries have heightened economic uncertainties. Lack of progress in Russian acceptance of a quick ceasefire in Ukraine also suggested the conflict could continue. Softer than expected inflation-linked data last week increased expectations that the Fed could be able to cut interest rates twice this year, despite ongoing concerns about inflationary tariffs. Silver prices surged 3.8% to a 4-month high on Friday. Silver rose on safe haven flows due to uncertainty generated by U.S. trade tariff policies. But silver was also supported by weaker inflation data, with anticipated U.S. rate cuts potentially increasing economic growth and thus strengthening industrial demand for the metal. Recent Chinese stimulus measures have also underpinned silver prices, amid expectations that the market will remain in deficit throughout 2025. The USD-JPY pair climbed 0.71%, hitting a 10-day high midweek, amid continued expectations that the Bank of Japan will order multiple interest rate hikes in the coming months. On the other hand, weaker U.S. inflation figures reinforced expectations of 2 rate cuts this year. The yen has also seen some safe haven demand as traders grow concerned about a trade war.